Are you looking to get a MacBook Air? Which one should you get? The M4 or the M5? Let's talk about it. When you compare both computers, you will find out that they are pretty much the same. The big difference, the M5 chip. They have the same design, the same body, the same keyboard, the same trackpad, the same aluminum body, the same colors, the same display, the same battery, the same everything. And so, why compare the M4 to the M5 MacBook Air? And there's a simple answer. Because currently there are people buying the M5 MacBook Air that don't know the existence of the M4. And if you are saying right now, oh, but the M4 MacBook Air you can only buy used. That's a lie. You can go for Amazon and buy it new still. You can go for other third-party retailers and buy it new. They are still clearing up their stock, and so they still have available M4 MacBook Airs for a very, very cheap price. So yes, the M4 MacBook Air is a really, really good computer. Before the M5 MacBook Air came out, they were doing discounts on the M4 MacBook Air. For example, I paid 1,000 euros, yes, 999 euros for this computer, which is pretty much around $800 for that machine. 700 and something dollars. And that's actually insane if you consider these computers have the M4 chip, which is pretty much the same thing as the M5. The biggest difference is probably the RAM speeds and some of the neural cores. So if you do lots of AI tasks locally on your computer, the M5 chip will bring an advantage, and maybe some in terms of efficiency and battery life, but I don't think it's justifiable to pay an extra $300, $400 for completely the same computer. And that's the thing about this comparison that I want to talk about in today's video, is that they are the same machine. They don't have any differences between them. Any. Just the chip. Apple didn't upgrade the display, Apple didn't upgrade the speakers, Apple didn't upgrade the keyboard, trackpad, or battery. So the computer is pretty much the same thing. Why do I say that the M5 MacBook Air was a good choice? Why did I compare it to the MacBook Neo? Why did I talk about it a lot in my YouTube channel? Because most people don't like to buy used computers, most people don't like to buy used tech, or even last year's tech. But I do believe that's where the value sits. Because whenever you buy a new computer, well, it's always the full price. Whenever you buy a last year's computer, it's always discounted. But the thing is, tech has matured so much at this point, especially on the computer side, that buying last year's computer, you are getting pretty much the same thing as this year's computer, with some slight disadvantage that won't affect you now, neither in 5 years, but maybe in 8. So yeah, whenever you buy any computer, if you buy always the best and you have the money, go for it. But if you want to spend that extra $300 and get the best value machine, always look for last year's computer. Again, the M4 MacBook Air has pretty much the same characteristics as the M5 MacBook Air. It has the same design, same hardware. It's pretty much the same computer. So whenever I compare these two machines, I'm currently not talking about which things are better because they are completely the same thing. I only compare the big difference, the M5 versus the M4. And this is, guys, right here, the computer that I've been using for the last few months is the M4 MacBook Air. And this is a beast. This is insane. This is completely overkill for most of you guys. So definitely, whenever if you buy the MacBook Air M4 or the MacBook Air M5, you will be well served. The only question is, will you spend the money and grab the M5, or will you save the money and grab the M4? That's actually the big question between the M4 MacBook Air and the M5 MacBook Air. Just if you want to save money or not. And then, of course, we enter here on a different question, which is, should you grab the M4 MacBook Air, M5 MacBook Air, or for the same price as the M5 MacBook Air, grab the M4 MacBook Pro? So yes, grab the better computer. And here's a different question, because with the same amount of money, now you need to ask yourself, what do you want? What do you need? Because if you want a very lightweight, easy to carry around computer, the MacBook Air will always be better. Even if you have the MacBook Pro's design, MacBook Pro's hardware is better, the MacBook Air's design has a different purpose than the MacBook Pro's. So whenever comparing both, you need to realize what you want. Obviously, if you want this very lightweight, easy to carry around, thin laptop, you don't want the MacBook Pro. The MacBook Pro is thicker, heavier, has a brighter display, has a mini LED display, has bigger hardware, has fans, makes noise, but is more powerful. While the MacBook Air has the M5 chip, is super efficient, super fast and bursty, but whenever you use long-term performance, well, it will overheat, it will thermally throttle, and it won't compete with the MacBook Pros. So depending on your work needs, your workflows, you need to choose between one and the other. But the M4 MacBook Pro now, currently, is actually a really good value. So if you want to buy a computer that actually performs better than the M5 MacBook Air for the same price, the M4 is a good option. And then of course there's the M3 Pro, M3 Max. Those are currently discounted also. If you can find them used for the same like $1,500 price tag, that's also a great deal. The thing is, whenever you shop for older Macs, you need to take in consideration which budget do you have, and of course what are your needs. If you have like normal use case needs, don't buy the M4 Pro, the M3 Pro. You don't need it. Buy the M5 chip, buy the M4 chip with the MacBook Airs, and you will be super well served. Obviously, if you are okay with buying used computers, I cannot recommend enough getting the MacBook Airs with the M2, M3 chip. You will save so much money. You can pay like $600 for an M3 MacBook Air, and that's a super powerful computer, way more powerful than the MacBook Neo. Get the MacBook Air design, the premium feeling in the hand, and of course all the great things about the MacBook Air, like the backlight keyboard, the better display, all of that for the same price as the MacBook Neo. So if you look at the used market, you will always find better deals than the new market. Obviously, and if you are watching this video, you are in doubt between these two computers. You want to know what are the differences between the M4 MacBook Air and the M5 MacBook Air. And straight up, I'm telling you, there are none. The M5 MacBook Air has a better chip. That's it. Oh, and to finish up the comparison, because you probably have that doubt in your mind also, what about the M4 iPad Air? Yes, if you are looking to buy the M5 MacBook Air, the M4 MacBook Air, you're probably considering buying the M4 iPad Air, because that's a very compelling deal. The M4 iPad Air costs $600 plus the Magic Keyboard at around $800. Cheaper, a bit cheaper than the M5 MacBook Air new. So, should you get it? Well, that's another big question that you should probably watch all of my other videos comparing MacBooks versus iPads, because that's a very old comparison. If you want an iPad, you grab an iPad. If you want a Mac, you grab a Mac. You don't want a Mac and grab an iPad, and you don't want an iPad, you grab a Mac, because they are doing two different things. They are two different types of computers. Of course, what is the right computer for you? That's a very personal question, but I can help you. The iPad Air will be more of a multimedia experience, more of a average use case, sit at home, use the iPad without the case. Sometimes whenever you want to use the Magic Keyboard, you plug it in, you type your document, but it's more of a leisure device. It's more like a fun device to use at home for multimedia purposes. While the MacBook Air is more of a workhorse, more of a work computer. You won't be sitting at home thinking, oh, I want to watch a TV show, and then you pick up the MacBook Air and sit up at your couch. That's more of a niche use case, while the iPad Air will definitely do that for planes, traveling, watching movies there. It's also much better bringing the iPad Air because you can download movies on Netflix and other streaming services, while the MacBook doesn't have that option. Obviously, with the MacBook, you get full-fat macOS. For working, that's much, much better. You have lots and lots of features to do so. Finder is available on macOS only. You have lots and lots of software available for macOS, while iPadOS is much more restricted. All the software available is not complete software, is not complete version. You have some downsides. And so, yes, comparing an iPad to a Mac, it's a very tough choice. So with the same price of the M4 iPad Air, you can grab the M4 MacBook Air and you will be super well served. So if you are undecided between buying the M5 MacBook Air, the M4 MacBook Air, don't be afraid to explore other options, but in my opinion, definitely you should grab the M4 MacBook Air. Much better option overall, and obviously, at the end of the day, that's what really matters. You shouldn't waste money just because you can. Buy always the better value machines. Incentivate progress, because if you buy M4 MacBook Airs, Apple will know. They will know that the M5 MacBook Air was not good enough. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Bye-bye.